Welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast.
You have to know history, you have to know wrestlers, you have to know matches.
My belly's just a little big, my hand is just a little big, but brother, I am bad and they know I'm bad.
There is no revolution.
You are truly the future of Lucha Underground.
I got it. How about a little heel turn?
And if they piss somebody, if they tick somebody off here, well then, you know, there goes their career.
Well, don't piss anybody off.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. The wrestling podcast will review Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania this year. And of course my name is Turbo Tony. We give you the wrestling news of the week and all that fan juicy feedback. And now, Devilish Trivia, it's back again. It's becoming a weekly mainstay here and it seems like our fans are quite enjoying that. And we've got more for it here this week. I'm not alone. Right next to me is the man who is leaving me soon, and I will cry manly tears down my manly beard. It's Matt Marsander.
Oh, you're going to miss me that much?
I will do.
Oh.
I will do. In fact, so much you'll be kind of uncomfortable. You know, me with on my knees, arms outstretched at the airport. No! We have done a lot of recording while you've been over.
Oh, so much, and so much wrestling has been watched.
Yeah, you did the math. 16 hours roughly.
Yeah, something like that.
16 hours of pro wrestling we've watched. We're burnt out. We're glad for having a week now where we can. This is like the ending of our.
There's like really nothing until Lucha.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah,
that's good.
That's it. But we've done plenty of content for you guys, and we hope you have been able to enjoy all of that. I know it's a lot to go up on the channel. Most people aren't used to that much stuff going up. I doubt even people have time to watch the majority of that. But things will start dying down a little bit.
It's kind of but it's like it was Mania weekend, so we had Takeover, which you had to talk about. We had Mania, and now we got Raw, and we had Lucha. Yeah, and it's like regardless. It was going to be a busy week. Yeah. No. Any way that we span it, it was going to be pretty busy. But things are dying down a little bit. So how are you doing today, Matt? Yeah, can't complain. Yeah. It's the bittersweet. Well, of course, I will be leaving your good graces and returning home. By the time this podcast goes up, you will already be home. Yep. Some weird paradox we will have created, but that's just the way it is, of course. And Matt, we need to do some plugs before we talk about any procrastination, because that is becoming a mainstay of our channel. That's very true. Everyone knows that the first 10 minutes of this show is introductions, plugs, and procrastination. That's exactly what it's all about. So, of course, if you guys would like to interact with us, you can do so via our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. You can also send my co-host here a message on the Twitter. Which is the @TalkWrestlePod. It is indeed. I'll miss seeing that face to face. I really will. It won't be the same. But if you guys can send us any audio questions or emails, you can do so at our email address, which is letstalkwrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. All easy. Most of it is up on the graphics there behind you, and everything there is in the description. I don't know how much more easier I can make it, Matt. It's all available. It's all available there for you. So, Matt, let's do a bit of procrastination. Now, you might have realised that over the last couple of weeks, I talked about a certain game that I had got addicted to called Stardew Valley. I got majorly addicted to this game. It soothed my dark places, and I needed it after a very bad episode of Raw, if you remember. Matt, would you like to say your full name and say what your new addiction is? My name is Matt Stavell, and I'm addicted to Stardew Valley. So the first thing I want to do when I get home is just sort of like, I even say hi to the family, just like 2 moments, go on Steam.
It suits your dark places, right? Doesn't it not?
I shouldn't find this much enjoyment out of farming.
Yeah. But you do. And it's great. Now you understand, Matt. Now you understand. You may have turned your nose up at me at what I said, but now
I've got 10 hours saved on your file. I'm going to start from scratch when I get home, and I don't care.
Awesome stuff. I do recommend it for anyone else going there. That needs a game to calm themselves down, and just enjoy a little bit of life, and decides that you wants to be a farmer. Everyone's got a little bit of farmer in them. That's the way it goes. That's it. And what other stuff we got over to this week? Watched that movie Black Mass. You like that?
That was good. That was really good.
About Whitey Bulger.
And I'll give his due. Depp does good.
Yeah, he does good. I like that movie. It's good. Especially for a murderous psychopath. And
Johnny Depp always does creepy very well.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Even the roles that he's not trying to do creepy, somehow they end up a bit creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just
it.
what I'm at it there. All right, Matt. Do you think we've filled our procrastination quota for this week?
Yeah, I think we've done good.
We need to get into some wrestling. We've got a packed show here, plenty to talk about. I mean, it's the Raw after WrestleMania, right? Lots to talk about here. But first, of course, we do have to get into our news. And of course, the news coming out of last week that we recorded a little bit earlier last week, and with you flying over, we didn't catch all the fallout from the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Well, when I landed, the induction ceremony hadn't even started. We had it on in the background when I got here.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so and the big news coming out of that, Matt, is Sting officially retired. He announced his retirement. We haven't actually got round to listening to the full speech yet. I mean, come on, 16 hours of pro wrestling. I think the Hall of Fame is...
it can wait.
It can wait a little while. Now, we had said before that we thought that he wasn't going to be doing so. And clearly we were wrong. Completely missed the mark on that. Hold our hands up. That's completely okay. I still don't think he's happy ending it the way that it is with that final match, but I think the choice has kind of been made for him.
Yeah, I think it's quite a good thing. I think this further goes back to like WWE being very good at keeping secrets. Like they've had returns at Rumbles and all things like that, just keeping that off sort of like the social media network.
Yeah.
So obviously they would have been aware of this until sort of that night. I can almost, well, at least I'd like to think so. I'd hate to think he's sort of like, oh, and by the way, swerve ball for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's kind of a heartfelt moment, and it does suck considering he's going out through injury.
Yeah,
it seems.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there still hasn't even sort of gone into sort of real details. Just like, I'm done.
Yeah,
and it probably was the the buckle powerbomb.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's his spine that's the problem there. And you know what?
But to be fair, for a guy who's been going for as long as he has, I think my spine's giving out. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, the wear and tear that he must have on his body at this point of view, he didn't have long left even without that. Right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He had his moment in WWE. He was a guy who he is a legend, every sense of the word. He did great business for WCW.
Yep.
He did good business for TNA. The best parts of TNA's lifespan were with Sting around. Yeah. That's when they were getting over 1 million views, right, on a weekly basis. They're not getting anywhere close to that now. When he came to WWE, he had his WrestleMania match, had that title match. Didn't win either of them, but they were big marquee matches.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
He
was main event, and he was really the key draw.
Yeah. A lot of people would be interested in those two shows because of those two matches that he was on. He's a guy that Matt, he's one of my favourites. I'll just say right here. Sure, there are wrestlers that are better than him in the ring, but with him, it was always about the entertaining appeal, right? He was a decent wrestler. He was very, very good. But
that's it. You'd put Brett as a better wrestler, but like you wouldn't put Sting above Brett. No, sorry, you wouldn't put Brett above Sting in terms of entertainment value.
Yeah, oh no, I fully agree with you. It's like in terms of performance, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into which I think is better, Brett or that's not really a conversation that needs to happen. But
different classes, though, isn't it?
Different.
It's like Brett's the better wrestler, Sting's the better entertainer.
Yeah.
There's two completely different sides of the coin when it comes to being a wrestler.
Yeah, it's just down to whatever people particularly like, right? And he deserves all the accolades that he's earned over Matt? This is a very lengthy career that he's had to this point. When you look at I actually went and watched, because they've now got up on the network, this Sting Into the Light special, which is the one talking about his time coming into WWE.
Yep.
And they go back to the very beginning of where he came in, with the Ultimate Warrior doing the tag team stuff, going the gothic sort of feel.
We're talking like Warrior before he was Warrior.
Oh yeah, far beyond before that. He's been around for a very, very long time. And one of the things that we said before, Matt, about guys, especially in wrestling, on a weekly basis, you're taking hits to your back.
Yep.
You're taking hits. Your body eventually is going to say to you, "No, I can't take any more."
That's it. It's attrition.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah, even a freak like John Cena, who doesn't seem like it affects him that much, eventually down the line, he's gonna feel that, right? But yeah, he deserves all the plaudits, and it's a shame that he's retired at this point in the career, especially not really on his own terms. But sometimes it's just the way the cards are dealt, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't
to be fair, some of the great talents get taken out through this. I mean, it's how we lost Edge. It's how we recently lost Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
That sometimes just, up to 20 years, even far exceeding 20 years with regards to Sting, that it just takes its toll.
Yeah, and the time that I find out that once you, especially like nowadays, it's very rare for someone to go 20 years in a wrestling career. Once you get to that point, the time is ticking on you. You're playing a risky game every time you get into that ring, in my opinion.
Well, I think it's because like the modern wrestling, compared to sort of like Sting's debut years and things like that, has changed so dramatically. I think it was I'm almost certain it was Ed. She was saying that, like, not to put blame on Batista, but he was like, yeah, my story with Batista could very well be a contributing factor into this.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with a guy like Batista, who is insanely strong, who likes power bombs.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's one thing that's going to take care of your neck in pretty quick succession.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, there's no blame to be levied there.
Oh, no, not at all.
Like Goldberg was the one who ended Bret Hart's career, but that's just sort of a freak accident, right? Sometimes these things sort of happen to good people as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't even dare sort of just go, no, Batista's to blame. I love Batista.
Or even Seth Rollins in this case,
Even
right?
Seth Rollins in this case, it was a powerbomb.
Which, I mean, we've said all we're going to say about that match. Whether or not he should have taken those buckle bombs, we said no. Going through the table with the fucking cameras still in them, no, he shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But it's ifs, ands, or buts, and that's not important at the moment, right? Let's remember him for the career he's had. This is a big guy retiring, a big star in pro wrestling.
A great loss to just wrestling in general.
Yeah, very much so. And you know what, Matt? I know we may never ever get, we will never now get that Undertaker match. I'm glad for Sting's career, and he's done great by the business, I think.
Yeah.
And you know what? He always comes across as a guy that's just so genuine. You want to talk to him, and he's another guy that hopefully very much down the line when this podcast gets big, I will claw and scratch and do everything I can to get him on this show. Yeah. Because he'd be one of those guys that would be a dream. And he's one of those genuine guys. I love speaking to guys like that, who... When you're speaking to him, you feel like what they're saying is genuinely, from the heart and everything like this. He comes across as that sort of guy. So awesome stuff there. There was another retirement that happened over the course of this week. Brie Bella. There's loads of conflicting reports about this, Matt, but I'm going to go from WWE's own website that we checked.
The interview that she had,
where she states in that interview that her match at WrestleMania was her final match.
What a way to go out, eh?
Yeah, not the best match, right? Now, Matt, she previously said that she was planning to retire in the summer. Clearly, this is a few months before summer. However, with Bryan taking time off himself...
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence here. I think the two are linked. I think she wanted to retire and be with Bryan anyway, and this is just speeding up the process.
Yeah.
It makes me worried about Bryan, whether or not he's doing okay. Because to me, he's a guy, unlike Sting, who I think is going to be fine going into retirement. I think Bryan feels like he's had time robbed off of it, and he's going to take it a lot harder. So, this is a woman, Matt. Let's talk about Brie Bella. This isn't much about Bryan here. Let's talk about Brie Bella. It's her retirement.
Yep.
What will she be remembered for? I think this is going to be a woman that is going to be remembered for her last year in WWE, which I think was awful.
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. I find it really bizarre that at one point I would put down and say, I believe Brie is better than Nikki. But as of late, the roles have changed.
Yeah.
And I even think Brie was probably worse than Nikki at the earlier stages.
Yeah, it's just she's had such. I mean, I've said before, and I'll stick by that. I think she is the worst character in WWE around at the moment, just because of the way she's been played out.
Well, yeah, and especially now, she's basically just going. She's not Brie Bella. She's Daniel Bryan with boobs.
Yeah,
like she does the kicks and all things like that. Like she's basically. If it wasn't for the fact that he was her husband, it's borderline gimmick infringement.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, her in-ring quality basically plummeted around the time Bryan started having injury problems once again, so there is some causation there. And to that point, I can say it kind of sucks. But at the end of the day, she can only be rated off of what we've seen in front of our eyes, and it hasn't been that great over the last 12 to 18 months. I think mostly people that end up remembering her is one half of the twins that really lived up to that Divas moniker. The Divas moniker that is eventually sort of being phased out, right?
Yeah.
The Bella twins, both of them, thrived in an era that had horrific women's wrestling.
Yeah.
And that damages them overall.
Well, it's that, the dark decade of women's wrestling, where it was a case of, she pretty, she work. But she can't work. She can't be a wrestler.
Yeah.
But she pretty.
Yeah, and she can take a bump, and that's basically all that.
Kinda.
And they're better than that now, but I mean, back then they weren't much better than that. Let's be honest, right?
That's it.
So yeah, I don't think she'll be remembered overly fondly. Like she didn't have like a Hall of Fame worthy career.
No, I was about to say I probably wouldn't put her down. I think if anything, she'll probably just get put down in the Hall of Fame as the Bella twins.
Yeah,
not as Brie and Nikki as a separate commodity.
That's it.
Going on about their Bella brand or whatever.
And I did say as well that both the Bellas, their time was ticking because they're getting close to the 30. Right, WWE doesn't. Do we know their track record of women? I don't agree with it. Always said, but this is the way they conduct themselves. Once you get too old, they kind of pass you off. This is the way they do things, and it just seems like things are. Even with Nikki, I don't even think she's going to be around too much longer.
Past 30, I can't even think how old Natalya is.
Well, she must be getting close to that, or very much over it at this point. But even then, she's not really used that much, despite this week. So, Matt's checking there on his phone.
I am finding out now.
So, yeah, it's kind of like, I know there might be some fans out there saying, oh, I wish that you could think of her more fondly. No, not really. I just don't. I can't think of a match that I can think of her too fondly with.
33.
Yeah. Oh, Natalya 33. So,
but then she's not been seen recently, so it might be that stigma of the 30 year.
Yeah. And she's never, and going to Natalya as well, she's never been looked at as a woman that they want to get too far behind. She gives too much of a.
The moment she starts getting over, I know. Let's give her a fart gimmick.
Yeah. Right. So. But Brie Bella announces her retirement. I wish the best for her. I'm not exactly going to be vindictive. I hope she goes. It seems like her and Brian want to start up a family. Fair play to them. I hope they have tons of little Brians around. I hope they come out with full beards like Brian does. But yeah, in terms of wrestling and legacy, there isn't really much to be said there. That's just my opinion. But I'm sure other people may feel otherwise. I just think that the bar is set low for people to be looking at people like this fondly. I can't think of one world-class Brie Bella match in her entire career, and that's a bit of a shame, considering the amount of time that she's been there, but still. Matt, are you ready for some fan feedback, unless you have any extra news that I didn't catch?
I don't know. It's that one sort of 1 week of the year where WWE is quite open with all of its stuff.
Yeah, and after
to be fair, there was some stuff that was just like, what a shock, not really worth mentioning.
Yeah,
Sonny's gone back to rehab.
Oh,
what a shock.
I really don't want to waste any words, but there you go.
I said her name, we're going to get sued.
Oh, yeah.
That's detriment.
I'm so worried. I'm going to lose sleep now, Matt. Oh, my dear God, what's going to happen? Next, she'll say that we've always fancied her and we want to have sex with her. That's why we're bitter. Sure. Yeah, okay. So, fan feedback, Matt. We've got lots of questions here from our fans. You guys have been sending us in tons of questions, and you know what? We're going to answer every single one of them.
Yep.
That's how we do here on this show. Anthony Smash asks, what do we think about a possible Balor Club versus TNA angle? That it will never happen, and it shouldn't happen. That's my...
he definitely wanted this question asked, because he tweeted it as well.
Oh, wow. TNA, listen, the reason I say that, TNA are in the dumps. WWE could have, if they wanted to, bought TNA out ages ago.
Yep.
But they don't care. The only thing they give a shit about is their tape library, which they'll just buy when the company folds anyway for even cheaper, right? And the only guys that WWE, this is in my opinion, Matt, would be interested in is maybe the Hardys. They're straight to main roster because they're because they're big enough names. EC3, maybe the Wolves. Maybe, considering WWE already passed up on them, right?
Yeah.
So, as much as EC3, no one's going to take a TNA group or Invasion coming in seriously. In fact, that would be more of a detriment to them, I think.
I think if it was going to happen, it should have happened like the TNA of old. Like you'd have Styles leading the team.
Yeah, like I'm leading Legacy and all this
or like like TNA during their high point where they still had Joe and like it's no secret that I was never much of a TNA viewer, but I'm just sort of going like
Austin Aries,
Rude, Joe, Styles, Daniels, like people like that who were, even if you didn't watch TNA, I didn't really watch TNA. But I knew who Samoa Joe and AJ Styles were.
Yeah, they almost transcended the company at that point. One of the things I would say though about that is that, listen, even in WWE, let's say you were going to book this, WWE has a horrendous track record of doing invasion angles, right?
Yeah, where the opposing team just gets dicked.
Yeah. That's the way I look at it here. So, no, I honestly I don't feel of it this way, and I think that each of these guys, they don't hold TNA in that much high of regard. Look at AJ Styles; he did an interview this week. TNA is what TNA is. You know, it's not the company that they fought and scratched for anymore. They don't hold it in such a high regard. Let's say that the ECW guys hold ECW in anymore. So, I get the idea. I'm not thinking about it that much personally. I don't think it really goes. And first of all, as well, there is no Balor Club at the moment until things transpire, which I imagine that they will down the line.
They're teasing a lot.
But that's our general thoughts on that.
Because it was to the point that Matt Bloom was just like, oh, look who's in. And sends a little over-the-shoulder selfie, and there's like
Gallows and Anderson, or
no, it wasn't Gallows, but Anderson was like in the gym in the NXT training center.
Anderson, by the way, is very, very good. Like, Gallows is what he is, and he's all right, and he's been around. We know who he is. Anderson, I think, is going to make quite a good splash in NXT. His other question is whether or not we think Zayn versus Nakamura is better than Styles versus Nakamura. Now, if you wanted that answer, that was actually on an NXT Dallas takeover review.
Yep.
But we're going to go over a little bit here because some of our fans said that they firmly believe that the Styles match was better. And Alex from Wrestling Boom, I think Axel Diaz were up there saying that's absolutely the better match. I'm not going to disagree with that, because it's all down, like we're talking about two very exemplary matches at this point. The only thing that I'll say is that I think, Matt, you're on the same sort of thought track as me, which we said back on that review, that we believe that Zayn and Nakamura is the better match.
Yes.
But the only reason that we believe that is because we believe that match was tailored more to a Western audience, and that Styles and Nakamura match was styled more towards an Eastern audience, and we're part of that Western audience. That's only the difference in those two matches, in my opinion, is that it was tailored more for us.
Yeah,
that's the only difference. That I think that's.
Well, I mean, we discussed it on the Takeover show. We went over like which one was the better. Like, and it's not the fact that we're going back on this. Blindly, like we went back and watched Styles versus Nakamura before the Takeover review, so it was still fresh in our mind again. But yeah, no, it's like you were saying, it's a very different style of match. The Japanese are more than likely to cheer for a very good sequence of like counters and reversals, where we're more likely to go big spot, massive fall from top rope, because I don't know, we like that.
We like the big spots, we like the big moments, right? And our chants and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't honestly say like one was better than the other. I think they were both equally physical. But yeah, it does boil down to the fact that Zayn versus Nakamura was a WWE Western style of match.
Yeah,
and I think that's the sole reason why I would put it first.
Yeah, I think that's. But at the end of the day, guys, don't think that. Like, at the end of the day, it is fresher. I do understand that. So we may be feeling that just because it's a fresher match in our minds, that we may be giving it a bit of push. I'm not gonna bank it in and say by the end of the year I might not change my opinion and go, actually, you know what, I feel like the Styles match was a better match.
Yeah.
But the great thing about this is a fantastic conversation to have, because both matches are fantastic. They're 5-star matches. So these are sort of arguments that I want to be having here on the channel, right? Yeah. And it's one of those things that
which one's a 5 and which one's only a 4.5, sort of
4.9. You know, that's how close it is, right? So, but that's our opinion on it there. But you know, maybe that will change down the line. I don't know, but that's how we feel about it anyway. But still. I don't want anyone to take anything away from that Styles and Nakamura match because that was very, very good. But still. Zio Cage, says that he takes it that Matt doesn't like the new women's belt. Would you like to follow up on that, Matt? Well, how do you feel about it now that you had a few more extra days to think it over?
I'm still not won over.
Okay.
But it took me a while to get used to the current WWE World Heavyweight belt as well.
Okay, yeah.
It might be the fact that I'm stuck in my ways and I don't like change. I mean, I'm glad to see the butterfly belt gone, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think they could have easily have just gone back and remade, or reamped the old women's belt. I kind of get why they've gone with the same belt. It's under the same banner.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just there's so much red in the front.
Yeah, that's
so much red because you got the little slash thing at the bottom of the W of the WWE emblem, and it kind of gets lost in the background.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It could grow on me.
I think one of the things I like about it, and I said back in the WrestleMania review, is that I like the fact that it is basically a different design on the World Championship belt. They're making it seem as if it's of the same sort of league.
It further emphasises the fact that we had Lita at one point going, these women aren't so much divas. They're not even so much women. They are superstars.
Yeah.
To put them under the same banner as the men, why not give them the sort of the same belt, really?
But I do agree with you, Matt, with the design. I don't think of it maybe as negatively as that. I think it's okay, and part of me does like it, and I do like the fact that at very least you've got the interchangeable side thing.
Yeah, the side plates and that. I don't hate it. I just haven't fully warmed to it yet.
It's a bit loud. I will say that at very least. It is loud, but I think it's okay. And you know what? Like I said, it's an improvement of that butterfly belt, because that butterfly belt was awful, and it has been awful for a very long time. So, Thomas Miller has a great question here. I like this question. It's a humdinger question that challenges our perception on WrestleMania. He asks if the finishes of some of the matches were changed at WrestleMania, but the matches, the spots, the entrances, promos all stayed the same. So just the winners changed for some certain matches.
Okay.
So for instance, Shane winning, Sasha Banks winning, AJ
Triple
Styles,
H winning, AJ winning. Yeah.
Do we think that Mania would be regarded as a much better show? To a certain degree. I looked at this a lot, and I think that Mania has a lot of problems that some can be fixed by the finishes of the matches. I'm not going to lie, having those big moments, having some of these guys win would have been good. But I think that some of the problems aren't because of the finishes. That main event is going to be a problem no matter who finishes it. Even if Triple H wins, it's still going way over time. The match is still shit. People are still going to be booing Roman Reigns. It's still going to be awkward. It's still bad, and there's no saving that main event to me. By even before these guys came out, they already had the deck stacked against them in terms of getting that crowd on their side. The Rock segment, you can't really change the finish of that, or Eric Rowan's going to beat him
in 6 seconds.
It is what it is. Sasha Banks, Shane winning would have helped. The Ambrose Lesnar match, even with Ambrose winning, I don't think would have done that much, because let's say you have the match exactly what it is, but Ambrose gets to win, then it just feels like Lesnar was beaten easily at that point, right?
That whole match would have had to be completely rewritten.
Yeah. So, to a degree, I think it would have improved. I think people will look at it a bit more favourably, but overall, I don't think the show still would have been that good. I think that...
Yeah.
That still the main events still probably wouldn't have lived up to the hype, and let's just say, like, if you're gonna force me to put this as a stars, I probably would have put WrestleMania 32 as a 2 out of 5 star WrestleMania, which is pretty low. Maybe with those changes, maybe 2.5 stars. I think, like,
I'd have probably given it the half just for Sasha winning.
Yeah, for having that moment. Yeah. Maybe Shane winning, because then you can get interested in what's going to happen here. But still. I don't
especially think considering that would then. That well, that would also have helped the Raw after, because apparently viewing of the Raw after was down.
Well, about 1 million, wasn't it? 1 billion
something
views,
like that, yeah. And more people would have tuned in for the Raw after Mania if they're like, Shane won.
Yeah.
Now, what are going to be these winds of change?
Yeah, but there was no. Yeah, as you say, it was almost like WWE promoted the fact that things were going to stay the same, sort of thing. So
yeah,
so yeah. Our answer to that is I do think it would have helped. I don't think it would have made the show great or anything like that. I think it just would have helped a few things, and it would have made some more people happy. But I think overall, especially critically, I still think the show would have been viewed roughly the same.
Yeah.
Thomas Oliver asked this on our Lucha Underground episode, but I forgot to catch it then, so I'm going to do it now. And the reason I'm doing it now is because it has relation to NXT. So I thought it made some reference here. He asks, how do we feel about King Cuerno not being allowed to take part in the Cruiserweight series in NXT? So, if you haven't seen this story, it's one of the smaller ones. Apparently, King Cuerno was offered a place in the tournament.
Okay.
Both Lucha Underground and AAA blocked him from doing so.
Wow.
Now, the main reason that these indie stars are signing on to this Cruiserweight tournament is to basically give them added exposure. You know, we're talking about the Evolve guys being on the WWE Network is added exposure. The Progress guys, Revolution Pro, all added exposure that they don't get. I mean, they're not even aired, right? Sometimes they might do it on their website on iPay-per-views. This is them actually, on a established, this is on the WWE Network, viewed by 1 million people, right?
Yeah.
So it's big for them. Lucha Underground probably feel like there's nothing for them to gain. They have this guy under contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can't go as King Cuerno anyway because they own that
They own
character.
the gimmick, yeah.
And
that's why you never see Prince Puma on the card. You see Ricochet.
Yeah. Now, I honestly do think here, I think there's pros and cons. I can understand why Lucha Underground and AAA... Lucha Underground, I think they've got nothing to lose by sending him off if he wants to stay as his whatever character he has in AAA, right? Which I don't know, I don't follow it that closely, I don't watch AAA. But AAA, they've got a lot more say in this because at the end of the day, AAA are the touring brand. They're the ones that he's going to be working constantly with over a long period of time. I think their word is probably more stronger than Lucha Underground's, even though the fact that Lucha Underground's got them set to like a 7-season contract or something like that.
Yeah.
But AAA have more to lose in it than Lucha Underground because Lucha Underground, King Cuerno is King Cuerno, right? I know, like, it's going to be weird if they put someone else under that mask. You know, you're going to notice the change. But at the end of the day, that character is still protected because you won't be able to use it, right?
Yeah.
In AAA, the dynamic is a little bit different. If I were Lucha Underground, I would have let him go. But I can certainly see why they didn't. And there's going to be a few people out there that are going to be... that are going to... A few people may disagree with me on that front, but this is just business, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's kind of difficult because I reckon for some of those, like under the contract of them going into the Cruiserweight series, that a lot of those companies are like, he can go. You got to tell him where he came from. And WWE's like, no, we exist. Only we. Now, where are you getting this talent from? Nowhere.
That's it. Well, I think that WWE would be more than happy to say stuff like Evolve and Progress Wrestling. I think I don't have any problem saying that because they're never really going to challenge them, really.
Yeah.
But if they're starting to say, oh, this guy comes from, you may have seen him on Lucha Underground, that's free exposure, and
that's it. And
they're not
people
willing
like,
to do that.
where is this Lucha Underground? And then they risk the gamble of losing viewers.
Exactly. And they're not going to do that. At the end of the day, these other shows aren't televised. So that's the bottom line of it here.
Yeah.
And people might be saying, oh, well, they bring some guys in that they're not really established TV deals, let's be honest, right, for some of these other promotions. So that's maybe the reason I think of it there. But there's pros and cons to it. I can understand why maybe King Cuerno is a bit upset about it, but if he was upset about it, he shouldn't have signed that contract for 7 seasons. That's just the bottom line. You have to read your contracts carefully, and you need to know who you're getting in bed with. If he doesn't like it, then there's not much you can do about it. That's just bottom line. Like Hernandez signed that deal with Lucha Underground, went to wrestle for TNA, and then he eventually get sued for it because he was still under contract with Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Read your contracts and plan out your future accordingly. Otherwise, these things will happen. Alex from Wrestling Boom asks, what is our favourite pay-per-view theme of all time? His is Going Down by Sick Puppies, used by Fused for Extreme Rules 2009. Sick Puppies? Jerry Lawler would hate that band name, would he not?
It's like Jerry Lawler does not approve of Sick Puppies.
No, he loves puppies. He does.
That's it.
Of all shapes and sizes. And
all colours.
That's it. Going into the actual all colours. I have a few of these ones, Matt. I've got Hero by Skillet for the Royal Rumble. Can't remember what year, but good track. like that song anyway. And
Yeah.
I thought it was good at using a really good video package. The theme that was used for SummerSlam 2002, which was created by Jim Johnston, actually.
Yep.
It wasn't a band that made it. He literally made the theme for the pay-per-view, and I quite liked it. It was a good theme for the Shawn Michaels and Triple H match for that year, which was like a big hardcore match. And quite recently, the Unstoppable song that they used for NXT Unstoppable, that was pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Ready to Roll for another SummerSlam, I thought was pretty good. Is there any that jump out at you?
Do you know, oddly enough, I don't remember a lot of the songs that they used for an actual event.
Okay.
I generally remember the music that they've used for video packages and things like that.
Okay.
Like Placebo. What song was it? They used it for Taker Shawn Michaels during the video packages that deal with God and things like that.
Oh, okay.
No, do you remember?
I don't remember the name of it.
I genuinely don't remember.
I'm not the biggest Placebo fan.
Nor am I.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, all I hear at work recently is the original version, which in my opinion sucks. Running Up That Hill. That's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
I generally only remember that's the first one that really creeps to mind because I thought it was a really good choice of track.
Yeah.
I know we were talking about it last night, and I'm not a big fan of the band, but I quite liked. I actually do quite like that Bring Me the Horizon track, Thrones, that they used for an NXT takeover recently.
Yeah.
I don't recall a lot of the pay-per-view theme songs because they generally just get sidelined by the actual matches.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like that Placebo track wasn't a theme song for the event; it was just for
that match. Yeah, the same way that in
the same way they had Metallica, Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yeah.
For
the end of an era match, didn't they?
Which was Triple H Taker in the Cell.
Yeah. Sometimes they do different, especially for WrestleMania, they might have 5 themes for that show.
Yeah,
right?
But it might not even be for the entirety of the show. It may just be for a moment.
It was like Flow Rider's song was the theme of this year, but they have different themes for different.
But they
matches.
had a Motorhead track on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they have other stuff on there as well. By the way, that Flow Rider song fucking sucks. There's just no way.
It's stuck in your head, isn't it?
It is.
You were singing to it.
I do, but the thing is that it's a catchy song, but I fucking hate the song, right? And I'm one of those people that my brain sucks in that sort of stuff, and it's just like, oh man, it's fucking annoying. It really is, but still. Cameron Hutton asks, do we think NXT's ring? What do we think of NXT's ring in comparison to WWE's? The black mat and stuff. And where the commentators sit, is it better than Raw? I like the black mat. Do like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It works more with NXT's aesthetic.
It helps it stand out as well.
Yeah. The fact is that the reason why they use the black mat is because it looks different to the main roster. And I think if you start having the main WWE Raw start using a black mat, which they won't, because Vince wants to keep it somewhat traditional, right? And that
I think in Full Sail it's quite a darker environment anyway, and the black mat kind of works. Where on the main roster and that, they want the show to look big and bright, and it'd be really bad if they we got this big, bright, flashy show, matte black.
Yeah. That's it. The way that they probably look on the main roster is that they can't do that because having the black mat makes it look like it's alternative. Makes it look like they don't want to be alternative. They want to be family friendly, open to everyone, sort of thing.
Yeah.
In terms of where the commentators seat, I think what he's talking about, because they sit up basically next to the stage, right?
Yeah.
They have actually done
old
that
SmackDown
before.
ways.
Yeah, right. They even did it for Raw at some point where they had the commentary table up there for a short while back when JR, Coach, and Lawler were doing the commentary.
Oh God, yeah.
I like the camera view, and funny enough, I know we talk about this pay-per-view a lot. It's just because I love it. SummerSlam 02. There's a lot of bits here because they've got the 2 different commentary teams. They've got the SmackDown one, which is by the ring, and they've got the Raw, which is up by the ramp, right?
Yeah.
And there's or maybe
they were up by the ramp. The Raw was actually next to the ring.
Either way, right?
In the traditional spot.
Either way, but there's a bit here where you've got both guys. Basically, what they do, they put the camera behind them so it's overlooking the ring. It's kind of behind where the thing is, and they look back and they're talking to each other and to the camera. It's just this cool view because you've got these guys too talking, basically building up the match. Triple H is coming out next. He's going to fight Shawn Michaels.
You can see the whole crowd. And
you can see the ring, the arena, everything. It's an awesome camera view.
Nowadays, you've just got people like on Raw, like fighting to get into the camera because they're like cold, like in this small box sort of thing, like only focus on the thing, and there's people in the background like doubling over just to try and get into the camera shot.
Yeah, that's it. Which they can't do much about, but the question is whether or not we would prefer it being up where NXT is. I don't think it makes much of a difference. That commentary team's going to suck either way. I think it's you can move it, it's still going to suck. And,
the problem isn't where the desk is placed. The problem's who's behind it.
Yeah, and to be honest, sometimes when they're talking and doing all these plugs about the network and everything, and doing these place cards, you know what? I do want that fucking goon in the back trying to get in the camera frame, because at least that's somewhat entertaining. So I think the thing is, right, when you put them up on the ramp, you're putting more of the focus on the commentary when they're talking to each other. It's basically just them. You need guys that you genuinely want to hear about when that happens. You don't want to hear what JBL, Michael Cole, Byron Saxton has to say. So, no, I don't think you should move them. If you get a better commentary team, then sure, do whatever you like with them. But that's my bottom line.
I want to get rid of Saxton and just put Graves in it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a little bit afraid, though. We would get the same Graves that we get on pre-show duties, because that isn't the same Graves that's on NXT.
That we get on NXT,
so that's what I'm worried about there, but still. MC Schwarbo asks, what's next for Shinsuke Nakamura? He loves how nothing was changed with Nakamura in his debut for NXT. Fully agree with that.
Only his music, but I loved his music, so it's great.
Yeah, and he has to change his music because that's owned by New Japan, or whatever bands did it in Japan. Right? It clearly works. It's so natural, Nakamura. Why try and change what clearly he feels comfortable with, and it's entertaining? I know WWE has they kind of do want people to change. I've heard talk about them
to their style, sort of thing.
I've heard talk apparently of them wondering whether or not they should get rid of his first name, which I think is ridiculous. Just go with Shinsuke Nakamura. It's not that hard to do. You just get the commentary to say it a couple of times. It's fine. But what's next for him? I said on the NXT Dallas review what I believe is next for him, which is between now and the next TakeOver special, wrestle Austin Aries in the #1 contendership match, because they were the two men that won the singles matches at the last big event. He beats Austin Aries because he is a bigger star and a better wrestler than Austin Aries. People might get angry at that, but that's just, to me, my opinion. And he goes on, and I do believe that Austin Aries against Finn Balor, it's good, but it's not as good as Nakamura against Finn Balor. And that's the big marquee, big main event that sells your next show.
For your next TakeOver show.
Are you on the same sort of thought track as that?
Yeah, exactly. I think they should give Nakamura like the Joe treatment, where sort of like straight away, main picture.
Yeah, there you go.
You're not going to like squalor around in like the opening match against Hugo Knox or Elias Sampson or anything like that. Nakamura's too good for that.
And he's almost like a special attraction. He shouldn't be wrestling every week. To me, like, while I don't want him on a strictly Brock Lesnar routine, I want him to be showing up every now and then, rather not every single week. Yeah, he should be something that we savour, right? And I'm sure, like, some people may go, I want him every single week, but the part is, like, NXT's good. It's good at not having to have all their guys on every single week.
Yeah.
What you do is that you build up this match between him and Austin Aries as like as a big match that's going to happen. You don't have him wrestle until then, and literally the only two matches you should have next is Aries and then
his #1 contendership and then his title match.
Yeah. Keep it special. I'm not saying you shouldn't have him in the ring in terms of
having
promos
do like a
and
promo
stuff,
or something,
or having like a brawl.
run-in or something. Yeah.
But keep those matches special, because they're big marquee matches.
That's
People are clearly interested in him. That's how I would do it. Billy McGee asks, which was better, NXT Dallas or Mania 32?
Let me think about that. Ooh, Dallas.
Yeah, no question. Absolutely no question. NXT Dallas was a better show. I think just collectively, it's half the length of WrestleMania. All the matches were at very, very least decent, if not. And you've got one, what we currently believe is a Match of the Year holder. I know some people disagree with that, but that's what we believe. Is Dallas all day long. I can't even think anyone that makes a genuine argument for
what I was saying on the TakeOver review is, like, if you drew the comparisons, so like you had the NXT Tag Team title match against, I'll say the WWE Tag Team title match, because it was meant to be until like the last minute of that 6-man title match. The NXT match was better by far. The main event was better by far.
Yeah.
Like NXT versus WWE.
Mm.
And then also, if you were to just draw like a singles match out of WrestleMania, which would have been, well, Styles Jericho, wouldn't it? There wasn't actually another real singles match, was there? Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I think that's probably the closest you're going to get to it right there, yeah. So
yeah.
Like a straight up singles match, yeah.
Nakamura Zayn was better than Styles Jericho.
Yeah.
So there you go, on 3 fronts. Dallas wins.
Yeah.
NXT wins all the way.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And that's the way I believe it there. And maybe we're a little bit biased because like people say, well, you know, you might be saying, oh, it's half the length. Mania's meant to be 4 hours long. It was 4 hours long.
It was nearly 5.
It was nearly 5, and I don't think it nearly deserved that length of time.
Plus pre-show.
Yeah, which we watched. We watched 2 hours of, which we probably won't be doing next year. If
it's like 6. That was nearly 7 hours.
Yeah.
My ass was dead.
Yeah, that's it. Kyler's 2000 says, with Bobby Roode showing up in NXT TakeOver Dallas, what other TNA girls and guys do we want to see in NXT? Well, I'm not too up to date with TNA nowadays. Don't know really what's going on there.
Most of the ones I've heard of have left, and most of them are in NXT already.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is that Rude and other guy, Eric Young, has left.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else. I don't know. EC3 and the Hardys. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Oh, Galloway. We'll get Galloway back.
Yeah. Well, I think WWE will kind of screw him up, but yeah.
Yeah.
EC3, definitely. He's like a guy that if he comes in and they give him a bit of love and he keeps that gimmick, and he's a lot tankier with his build nowadays as well.
Yeah.
Other than that, maybe like I said, James Storm. Maybe he had his time in NXT, but I think people, and I do like James Storm, but I think more people are coming in now that people are more excited with. And like I said, I like James Storm, but now they got Bobby Roode in. I always thought Bobby Roode was the guy with the more potential out of the two of them. And that's just my opinion. Like I say, other people can think otherwise. But I think the landscape has changed quite a bit since James Storm was around, as opposed to now in NXT. Those spots are starting to close up a little bit, and that's just my opinion. Well, actually, I say that, and there was a lot of people brought up to the main roster, so maybe there is more openings than I maybe think. But still. Okay, so that's all our questions. If you guys do want to send us any questions, you've got the comment section below. You can also leave them on our Facebook, which is facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. Matt, if they want to send you any messages directly, what is the
any questions? It's at Talk Wrestle Pod.
I'll just send you anything.
Anything. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
And you can also send audio questions that I'll put up here on the show, so you can hear yourself on our show, on our podcast. And that is at Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast @gmail.com. Doesn't really matter what format you put it in, but MP3 is the easiest for me to use. So if you can put it in MP3, I would appreciate that. But otherwise, not too much of a problem. Put it in WAV form or whatever.
Whatever it records.
Whatever you can do it in. Download Audacity, record it on there. It's a free program. It's what we're using right now to record this show. So, good stuff. All right then, Matt. I said that I might not be able to do trivia for you this week. I do have trivia. It is time for your super sexy, amazingly difficult but intense, awesome challenge.
Joy.
Yes. This one is a more visual one this week because I thought, what a time to do a more visual challenge with you being right next to me. It makes sense, right?
Yeah, that's true. Plus, you wouldn't have had an opportunity to look for answers.
Exactly, right? So if I forgot answers...
We're reading off the same page, like, oh, yeah, I know that. I didn't read it. Honest.
Just by proxy, I do think you'll get a lot of these, and I think it'll be a lot easier.
Oh, okay.
So basically, what the theme is this week is WCW gimmicks.
Right.
And I want you to name, just by looking at these guys, it's very easy, Matt, but some of these are a bit obscure.
Yeah.
These gimmicks that were in WCW, right? And
are we going to have the Sub-Zero knockoff?
Yeah. But you have to get his name. That's the thing, all right? So...
Shit.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. For you guys, if you're listening to this without the background on, I would say now is the time to actually flick onto the channel because I'm going to put up pictures on the screen so you guys can play along as well. This is much easier than last week's WrestleMania challenge, I will agree. Okay? So I will say that. So Matt, let's get into this here. Let's get this up. Who is number one? Who is this lovely, lovely soul who looks...
it's the Kiss Demon.
It is the Kiss Demon. Yeah. Okay, Matt, fantastic. You got it right.
Yay!
You got one right. It's the Kiss Demon. For a little bit of a history lesson here, who people may not know these gimmicks, Kiss did a performance which they were paid for very handsomely by WCW, but one of their bizarre demands was that a wrestler would become the Kiss Demon and he would be involved in main event matches.
Yeah.
And he was involved in a main event match, and you can clearly see the reason why...
he wasn't for the second.
It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. The Kiss Demon for you. Are you ready for number 2
He was
then?
Jack, to be fair. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So the second one. Who is this guy? Oh, I might have got you a little bit on this one. Who is this happy laddie?
I don't know.
Ooh.
I generally don't know.
Are you gonna have to?
You were the WCW guy in this pairing.
Why do you think it's WCW gimmicks and not WWE gimmicks?
I don't know.
It is the Disco Inferno.
Oh fuck.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he likes to do the grind. He likes to do all that. That's it.
Booty before booty.
Exactly. He made gyrating famous before Big E ever did. Disco Inferno. Are you ready?
He took it to another level.
Yep. Yeah, it's exactly it. He is his daddy. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Number 3. Here we go. Talking of the Sub-Zero
knockoff. Oh, I can't remember his name.
You can't remember his name?
I want to say Frost or some shit like that.
Is Frost your guess?
No, because I know Frost will do. Go on. Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
I know it's a Mortal Kombat character.
It is Glacier.
That's it.
Glacier. He literally was the Sub-Zero guy.
Yeah.
And
Mortal Kombat's famous. Cool.
Yeah.
Do Frozen Man.
Yeah, that's essentially him. And why they did it? Because Mortal Kombat, that's why, and it didn't work that well.
WCW, bitches.
Yeah, that's the way it is. So you're running at 1 out of 3, but I feel this one's harsh because you knew this one was coming up, and you just couldn't get the name, but okay. Next one, number 4. Oh. You got no clue.
I'm a complete blank face.
Oh.
I genuinely know the Sultan of Agrabah. I don't fucking know.
Sultan of Agrabah. Well, I'll give you a hint. That's actually Kevin Nash behind that. Fantastic, guys. Yeah? Oh, yeah?
I don't know.
I'll tell you. It is Oz.
Okay.
He's a wizard.
Fair enough.
Yeah?
Scary.
And like I said,
scary.
It is, yeah. To be honest, it is. Alright, last one then, Matt. You're not doing so well this week.
I'm not.
You're not doing so well. I'm sure some of our fans have got this. More of our WCW inclined fans probably aced through this week. Number 5, I think you'll get this one. A dead giveaway, I think. This is a gimme. Number 5 is this man.
I was going to say, is the Shockmaster?
Yeah. How can I leave that the Shockmaster? You know?
Huh?
How can I leave him out?
Yeah, that's true. The shiny stormtrooper.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh god.
Who
fell through a wall and that was that.
That was that. And his helmet rolled off. So fantastic stuff. So you got 2 out of 5.
I don't know how anyone was like. If it was that easy for the helmet to come off, I don't know how he was ever meant to wrestle in it.
Oh yeah, I don't know why, but still, it's WCW, and they mess up people, and that's the way it's. So 2 out of 5 for you, Matt. You struggled a little bit in the middle of there.
One of them.
I knew you
didn't know a name.
So I'm guessing. I'm just going to give a random guess. I think some of our fans would have cleared through this week fairly easily, but I would have. But that's only because, like I said, I was a WCW guy, and I watched a lot of these gimmicks, unfortunately, and that's just the way it is there. So that's your super sexy, amazingly awesome, but intense. But did I get this wrong? Super sexy, amazingly difficult, and intense, awesome challenge.
There you go.
It is hard to say, and you got 2 out of 5 this week. So more trivia for you next week, Matt, and maybe you can win your challenge. Win your challenge. So Matt, we've got nothing in our way now. We will be reviewing Monday Night Raw.
Yep, I think we're set to go.
Yeah, this is the Raw after WrestleMania. Fresh from WrestleMania 32. The Raw after WrestleMania, Matt, has a long-standing history of being an elaborate event in its own right. Pay-per-view worthy.
Yeah. Some years have been, yeah.
Yeah. With Mania disappointing quite a few fans this year, let's just be honest. Fans are looking to this Raw to give us something fun, give us something, that's exciting.
Yep. New.
New faces, big returns, sort of thing. That's what we're expecting. Even title changes to a certain degree. And it's obviously emanates from Dallas. They haven't left Dallas yet. They will do this week, but they're still in Dallas. This is the end of the WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
So a lot of big stuff going on. Now, before this starts off, one of the things that you're going to notice throughout the entirety of this episode is that commentary feel the need to explain to us, the watchers, what sort of fan base normally attends these Raws.
The diehard.
Yes, and the reason why they're doing that is so they can sort of spin it in certain situations, which they did later on, hilariously in the Roman Reigns bit, right? So basically, what they instead of it going, these are fans that are passionate and excited. It's more that we're
the
wacky.
tables match as well. It's like they're saying, no, they're not.
No, but what I mean, Matt, is that they're trying to spin it that the fans at these Raws are wacky and crazy, and they just do things for the fun of it,
boisterous.
Yeah, but
good.
They're basically what they're saying is that that crowd is just being loud for loudness sake. That when they boo Roman Reigns, they're just doing it for the sake of booing Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I think that's
when
incorrect.
they chant, they're just chanting because they're just having fun.
Yeah,
that's the one they hated with JBL. They're having fun in Dallas. It's like they hate it.
Yeah, that's it. I just think that it's one of these things that WWE. I'm sure it's kind of how they feel with it. That this crowd is not their main general audience, which I agree with.
It's a once-a-year crowd.
But what I will say that this is the vocal crowd. This is the crowd that if you've got these guys on your side throughout this entire show and they're enjoying it and they have no issues,
you've had a good Raw.
Yeah, then you're pretty good set up because that means that the main people that are going to be making the noise are saying positive.
Well,
things.
that's it. It's like you've got the couple of the crowds. Like you've got the Philly crowd, the Chicago crowd. And you've got a couple of other of those big cities that are like big wrestling ones who will be very vocal.
Yeah.
But there's one that tops them all. Raw After Mania.
Raw After Mania, yeah.
Where people have travelled thousands of miles and paid the extra $100 per ticket to be there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things as well, like, WrestleMania, 100,000 people. The people that fit into that 10,000 stadium, that really
that 100 goes down to 15.
Yeah.
And they're diehard. Yeah, they are thorough.
Exactly. So Vince starts off this show. He's walking on cloud 9 after WrestleMania.
Yeah, but he would be. They were singing No Chant. They were singing his music back to him for all these weeks leading up to Mania, where Vince has come out, and he's like, "Really? This is the response you give me?" And he walks out Raw After Mania, and everyone's going, "No chance in hell."
But he's talking about WrestleMania breaking records, especially rubbing his own dick here.
Yeah.
He says he's still in control, and he always will be. He quite enjoyed Undertaker beating up his lad, his son at WrestleMania. He says that we'll never forgive this Raw, and goes on his way until Shane comes on out. Now, Matt, I did say to you there that I was like,
he better not dance.
He better not do the dance and just act as if he'd never jumped off that cell, but he doesn't. Excuse me. He's sporting a little bit of a shiner, and he's got
like a massive welt on his left.
Yeah,
but he's like walking about sort of 30 centimeters a step, definitely just all like very gingerly pacing his way out.
I get the feeling that even if he did want to do the dance and do,
I don't think he could have.
Yeah, I think he was hurting quite legitimately. Now, so Shane comes out. He says that he's the only man in the family, but he will shake Vince's hand. He's the one that won their deal, right? And thanks the fans for booing Roman Reigns. Cheering Shane on in his match, of course.
Yeah. Being vocal as ever.
Yeah. He says goodbye, tries to leave, which obviously gets booed, but gets stopped by Vince. And he says he wonders how crazy and nonsensical and how bad the show would be if Shane would run it. So he gives him the chance. He says, "God, you do it," and he goes off.
Your match last night means nothing. You run Raw.
Yeah, exactly. The crowd are all behind it. Sort of weird that they're teasing this change, and it's clear that everyone wants it, but I very much doubt that's the end game here.
Yeah. So it's sort of like everyone's like, change is coming, and even though we know full well nothing is coming.
Yeah, exactly. Even if they did at this point, I've heard some rumours that they might go with a storyline that Shane gets control anyway. But that to me is a little bit like you're basically fucking over that ending.
Yeah.
Like people are going to take these stipulations less and less seriously if you keep going back on it. I'm not going to say that I wouldn't like the Shane being control of Raw. It would change the dynamic up quite a bit, but I just don't. It sets a bad precedence, which has already been set by some stuff happening before, like Stephanie and Trips getting back in control 2 months after they lost it, sort of thing. I don't like that, but still. What is really funny here, just looking at this from a very critical eye here, is that this is one of the big moments of Raw, one of the biggest Raws of the year, and Vince is so ready just to say, I think you're going to do badly, but fuck it, I'll let you do it anyway.
My biggest Raw of the year, you fuck it up for me.
Yeah,
that's kind of what he was going with.
Yeah.
The one that I should be caring for, the one I should be taking the most time with, the one that will kick off this year leading into WrestleMania 33.
Yeah.
Nah, I know you'll screw it up.
Yeah.
Go on, Shane.
Go on, you do it. You could screw it much worse than the creative already has here,
True.
So there is that. So it starts off with the New Day versus the League of Nations in a WWE Tag Team Championship match.
That we didn't get the night previous.
Yeah, which apparently wasn't a thing, but still. The New Day, now you may say here, we've got the New Day chants, which is, hey, we want some New Day, which is the Bayley chant.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool, that's pretty awesome. Until I saw pictures, Matt, of WWE putting up graphics, teasing the fans.
Forcing people,
So, yeah, not exactly great. I wonder what Bayley thinks of that anyway, but still. Xavier Woods accepts fault for his Stone Cold Stunner that he received.
Which he deserved.
Yeah, he was grinding dangerously close to Austin's penis. So, once you get that close to the rattlesnake, you do harbour...
You will get bit.
You will get bit, that's exactly right. Xavier is barely able to contain his happiness at the crowd for doing the WWE. They're all doing it for him. He looked like he was about to jizz his pants, basically.
Yeah.
So, this was not, Matt, this match, this is not what I would have booked to start off the show.
It's really confusing. Especially when it's like, we've got the blast booty-o. And you're like, oh, God.
Yeah, it's... I don't know, Matt, it's just like...
Oh, God.
Sure.
It's Simba.
But the thing is here with this is that, yeah, I like the New Day and their promo was fun, I'm not going to deny that. But the League of Nations, come on. I don't even want to see them anywhere close.
God, I think the League of Nations got booed more than booed more than Reigns did the night previous.
Close to, at very least. And you might say that's but Tony, that's good heel heat. No, it's because we just don't want to see them. They're so boring. It's unbelievable. So they come out, and it wasn't the best of matches, Matt. We were quite bored, let's be honest. This was
a quick match as well.
They've had 2 matches back to back, which were pretty shit. Let's be honest. Not shit. They weren't exciting. They just weren't fun. That's just the bottom line of it there. But Sheamus is in a bad mood because the New Day basically easily brush off the team that beat them quite comprehensively the night before. So there is something to say about that. But you know what? Sheamus shouldn't be in a bad mood because the crowd didn't shit on him this year. So
that's very true.
That.
Then he goes on like, we're the League of Nations, we're the greatest fighters from around the world, we should be undefeated, we should be unstoppable, but there's only, a chain's only as strong as its weakest link.
Mm-hmm. And talking of weakest link, he gives Barrett a bro kick for being the weakest link, somehow less painful than Anne Robinson's verbal warfare about the weakest link. You are this weakest link, goodbye. Somehow that hurts.
Bro kick.
Yeah, that's it. It hurts a lot more than an Irishman kicking you in the head. It does. It does. You can recover from a kick in the head, but Anne Robinson, she's a special kind of nasty right there. So.
Just that rot that sits in your heart forever.
Exactly. The Wyatts show up and attack the League of Nations. Why?
Because reasons.
Yeah. Now, I'm guessing that they're going face because they're attacking a heel team, right? But that's the only avenue available to the Wyatts at this point. That's really the only place that they could go and do some good, really.
Yeah.
A lot of avenues have been kind of cut off for them with the losses and the way they've been used. It's not looking good for the Wyatts at the moment, but
no, it's tough.
If they're going face, then just go face. I've got no problem with that.
Pull the trigger, let it go.
Yeah, make it so Bray is now targeting the heels and he's going to expunge them. He can do all the stuff he does before, but he targets the heels.
Yeah.
No problem with that whatsoever. Renee Young speaks to Vince backstage. He's leaving because he doesn't want to see Shane fuck up the show, and he doesn't want to see the show go down. So why the fuck did he let Shane control the show?
Especially it's like, if I'm that worried, I should be on hand, ready to take over at a moment's notice.
Exactly right. This is with him leaving early, and like the other week, I think it was like Stephanie and Trips that left early in the show. These are like the worst owners, like in storyline of the show. That's
like,
that's
are you going to be here to see your show like finish? No.
Yeah.
Can't think you should be.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because you need to run the place.
Nah, yeah, it's fine. It'll work itself out, Matt. That's exactly what it'll do. Summer Rae versus Sasha Banks. Summer Rae is pissed off at losing the absolutely worthless Divas match at WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure that most people didn't even realise that Summer Rae was actually in that match.
No.
First thing we said when Sasha came out was, imagine the response that she would have got from this Raw crowd
if she was champion.
That's exactly what we said. There is something that's been missed there. If WrestleMania isn't the place to give your biggest face of the place that you give the biggest face the big payoff and the title win, then I don't know where you would do it. No. So it's a little bit weird on that front. So she basically comes out. She's in no mood to be fucking around after losing losing the match. She clocks Summer with a slap. They have a match, which doesn't last very long at all. Sasha reverses the most devastating finishing move in wrestling history into the bank statement for the win.
Yep.
Proving that Summer Rae can use the greatest move in the world and still not win.
Yeah. Or that Sasha is that good she cannot be defeated by the most devastating move.
I don't know. I think she has been beaten by the most devastating finishing move.
But she has a way out.
Oh, she's been learning, evolving that. Maybe we need a new move.
She's been improving.
That's exactly right. So we get the first then, after that, the first of our many debuts. Lots of debuts here on this show. More than I probably would have even thought of. What do you mean? What are you looking at me puzzling for? What do you mean?
We had him. We had
the tag team. And then we had
Corbin last night.
Yeah, so it's 3.
Yeah,
still quite a lot. Technically 4 if you
4 over 2 days.
Yeah. So... yeah, one guy that I thought was not coming up, I would not have banked on this guy to get the call up, Apollo Crews. Yeah, he's been called up to the main roster. He's doing main roster work. He wrestled Tyler Breeze here, beat him in an extremely quick match, basically a squash match for Crews here.
Yeah, the worst part is they were like, Apollo Crews is having his debut match next, and then Tyler's music starts playing, and my heart hit the pit of my stomach.
You knew what was happening there.
No. You can't, you fucked him up, and now you're going to feed him to new talent. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And
he did that on NXT, but he had a decent match and everything like that. He did lose to Apollo Crews on NXT in his last NXT match, I think. But
yeah,
like the reason why, like the Tyler Breeze train, it's over, it's dead. It died a month in. Kind of have to live with it at this point. But there could be someone else for Apollo Crews to have beaten. But even then,
Fandango.
My problem, just anyone really. But my problem with this here is not who he beat. That's not too much of a problem with me. I don't think Apollo Crews is ready to be gone from NXT. And the reason I say that is, sure, in terms of in-ring, he's fine. The look, he's fine. Even doing some promos, he's okay. The one thing that we could see the chink in his overall armour, which will get exploited big time on the main roster, was his ring psychology. He didn't seem to know how to figure out how to get the crowd fully behind him. In fact, responses from him in NXT were starting to dwindle a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were at TakeOver London, where the crowd were booing Corbin more than they were cheering Crews. They couldn't give two shits that Crews was even in the match.
Yeah. And I said, look, this guy's going to be something big for them. I would push him. I would get behind him because he's a guy you can slap in a suit. You can send to all these
promotional meets and that. Yeah.
He's a great wrestler. He's got that great look. He's
got that look that Vince just creams for.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So he ticks so many of the other boxes. But here's the problem: if this issue starts popping up on the main roster again, where he's struggling to get fans behind him for whatever reason because he can't play the ring psychology that well, then he's not going to be in NXT where he can see people
almost protected.
Yes, right. He's going to find it hard. That's just what I'm bringing here, and I doubt that the creative is going to get him out of that hole if he eventually gets to that point. I think he needed more time in NXT, and I will say that because I do believe that he would eventually would have twigged on.
Yeah.
Now, I think he's still doing some of the NXT stuff, like you said. Baron Corbin's still doing some of the live shows and stuff, but that eventually will be wrapping up. He wouldn't have made his debut here if he wasn't moving to the main roster. I just don't think it was the right time, personally. But I can fully understand why Vince looks at this guy and says, I need him on the main roster.
He needs to be with me.
Yeah. Vince probably looked at this guy and thought, this is exactly what I want from a guy.
Yeah.
And I can completely see that. And I do like Cruz. It's just these few deficiencies in his in-ring psychology are starting to... They were starting to come to the fore. And hopefully that doesn't become a major issue on the main roster. Roman Reigns comes out to a rapturous sea of boos. Matt, let's play a game of how will WWE spin this time?
Okay, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So Reigns is getting booed. What would you say?
If I were WWE and I was trying to spin it, they were saying boo earns.
Boo earns?
Yeah.
Boo earns, okay. I believe we live in an opposite dimension.
Yeah.
Where the good is bad and bad is good.
Oh, yeah.
So a boo is a cheer.
Yeah.
I think that's where...
He was getting cheered to high heaven then, wasn't he?
That's very true. I mean, well, you saw the first episode of the Edge and Christian show, where Vince has the remote that controls the universe.
Oh, right.
So that could be it.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Oh, okay. Well,
because we love Reigns.
Yeah.
Love Reigns.
Oh, yeah.
In opposite world.
And yeah, exactly. And in opposite world, WWE aren't shoving him down our throat either. So that's part of the good thing there. Now, what JBL says is that, as you say there, Matt, is that the boos are who people, that this crowd only boos who people would normally cheer and cheer who other people would boo. And I'm like, let's be honest here. Let's get back down to reality. Really? That's what you're going to try and sell to us? Matt's idea of the fucking...
That's basically saying that earlier on, we were booing Sasha Banks.
Yes.
That's kind of what that sort of like the flick of the switch.
Oh, when Shane came out, we were booing him as well.
Oh, we booed Shane?
Yeah.
Fuck. We booed New Day.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I guess we don't like the New Day anymore. Oh, well.
Guess not.
Bit weird, isn't it?
Oh. We booed Cruz.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Oh, yeah. Enzo and Cass, when they eventually debuted here.
Oh, we booed them.
Oh, we booed the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Oh, so JBL.
We booed Dolph Ziggler.
Yes, we did. We did, here on this show. Oh, yeah, and we cheered the League of Nations.
Yeah. Oh, my God. We've projected them to the heavens.
Yeah, of course. I think this is absolutely ridiculous. JBL basically is trying to... I imagine Vince is in his ear trying to spin this shit, trying to understand... Because I'm sure that they're annoyed the fact that he got booed to high heaven, but they have to bring him out here. He just won the championship, and they have to try and spin it into some way to say...
We booed Sami Zayn.
We did boo Sami Zayn. Oh. Yeah. That's the way it is. Or when certain someone returned at the end of the show.
And we booed him too.
We booed him as well.
Oh.
So... Reigns tries to get his promo out, but clearly he's struggling to get it out because it falls on deaf ears. No one wants to listen to him.
I quite like how everyone's just like, boo, and he's like, come on, I'm not a bad guy, and everyone's just like, shut the fuck up,
yeah.
Boo.
He says he wants to fight someone now for the championship, which still gets booed. Jericho comes out, tells the crowd to shut
Jericho.
up. We did boo Jericho.
I mean, we're supposed to boo Jericho. He's heel, but...
Well, actually, in reality, we all cheered him for telling us to shut up, because it's just someone in there apart from Roman Reigns. You get cheered by proxy, if that's the case. Yeah. He says that no one can compare to him. Nothing compares to Jericho.
Yes.
Why did I originally come? That's not even in my notes, guys.
No.
Not Reigns or AJ Styles. Nobody can compare. Styles comes out. Owens comes out. Zayn comes out. I'm sitting here thinking that Jericho is the only one with a legitimate claim to the championship.
To have won, yeah, because he won the night previous.
Yeah. All the other people in the ring.
We booed all those people, so you know.
Oh yeah, we booed all of them. Of course we did. According to JBL rules, we did. Of course we did. A brawl erupts. Reigns spears Jericho, and the crowd are pissed off with it.
And the crowd cheer for him because JBL says we do.
Yeah, according to JBL, that's exactly what we did. So, still. Reigns is backstage then. He gets booed for being backstage. Shane shows up and tells him that the number one contendership match is between the four men who fought in the prior segment. And that will be the main event of the night. And I tell you what's funny here, Matt, is that even Shane gets his cheers somewhat reduced just being in
Reigns
his vicinity.
Kryptonite.
He is. He's toxic at the moment.
He is.
He really is. But still. Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler. Baron Corbin making his main roster debut technically at WrestleMania, but he is making it properly.
His Raw debut, yeah.
His Raw debut. He caught a very corny promo before this match saying that it will be the end of days for anyone who gets in his way. And the match was just as awkward and corny and probably as that promo was. This was a really weird match, guys. And it was bad because of it, in my opinion. There was a lot of very dead spots where it looked like both these guys had no clue where they were going next.
See, I mean, I was just thinking recall that moment. It's like Ziggler's like laid out in the ring. Excuse me. And Corbin's still like, he'd run into the buckle and he's just draped over the second rope. And there's that moment of like,
there's a good like 15
seconds
go by. Of
yeah, where it's like,
there.
or it's almost like Corbin was expecting
Ziggler
to jump him, or Ziggler vice versa. But it was just that moment like nothing happened. And it was just that moment where it's just like, oh no.
There was also a moment in here that we could very easily clear that both of them were lost, and they both down, and it was so clear that they were talking to each other. It was so blatant that they needed to find some way to get back on track on here. And I don't know if this is Corbin's fault. I imagine it would be because Ziggler is way more experienced. Maybe they just don't know how to work with each other, so it's equal blame. But the match itself was awkward as fuck. It was like you could tell that these guys just didn't know where they were going.
Yeah.
And there was lots of just dead time where both guys just weren't doing anything. So, yeah, they end up brawling on the outside. It causes a count-out. Corbin blames the referee for, counting the count-out.
Oh, yeah, just doing his job.
And then he hits the end of days on Ziggler outside of the ring. I thought this was a bit disappointing overall.
The dead spots.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like the match, when it was going, was good. But yeah, like you can't take away from the fact that like they're in total probably a good minute of nothing.
Yeah, where both guys just didn't know where they were going.
Yeah.
And it was obvious they didn't know where they were going. And
That's
it got to a point it got a bit awkward. And that's not what you want to be feeling when you're watching a wrestling matches, which is, this is getting a bit weird now. It's getting a bit awkward. So, not the best of Raw debuts for Corbin. I'm sure he wants to get that behind him as soon as possible, but it is what it is. That's just the way that the cookie crumbles at the end of the day. Oh, Matt. This is a touchy subject to get into, this next match, do you not think?
That's it.
Zack Ryder versus The Miz. Now, Ryder comes out first of all, he's cutting off a promo. He says that last night at WrestleMania was the best night of his life. Emma let him do anal. He won at WrestleMania. He shows off the pictures of him with Scott Hall as a kid, and now as the IC champion with Scott Hall
like
as
the
well.
picture reversed.
That's it. He thanks his absolutely jacked dad, who looks in far better shape than probably most of the guys on the roster.
That's true.
That guy's got he's been banging and clanging, hasn't he, Zack Ryder's dad?
In true Rock fashion.
Now Miz comes out. He's pissed off that his moment at WrestleMania was ruined, or Stu would say ruined. Don't know why. Just
Had to go there.
Miz talks him into a match, and like the gullible champion that Zack Ryder is, he accepts. Literally, he went from one sentence of going, "No, I'm not going to give you a match." Miz talks a little bit of smack. "Okay, I'll give you a match," and you can kind of see where it was going from there. I kind of saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Miz, they have a decent length match. I thought the match itself was actually pretty good. Miz is out on the outside. He mouths off to Zack's dad, who pushes him away with a single hand, which, with the guy being as big as he is, that seems quite legitimate.
I don't think Miz sold it. I think that legit happened.
Yeah, he literally fell over. He wasn't planning on doing it, yeah. So, what happens then from that is that Maurice, Miz's wife, how he got Maurice as a wife, I don't know. There's quite a big difference in terms of attractiveness there, I like to think. But still, good on him. She comes out quite pissed off that happened. Starts mouthing off to Zack's dad and gives him a slap. That distraction is what cost Zack Ryder the title. He loses it. He held it for less than 24 hours.
The one thing that made me laugh so much about this bit is the entire time that Maurice is mouthing off to Zack's dad. There's this female security guard just stood behind her. At no point they're like, you're not meant to be here.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing inside this section? Like, trying to drag her away. Like, you know, like you hear stories of like some of the security where like, if they've got a jumper, they'll fucking take him down.
Yeah, oh yeah, they'll hurt them.
I just literally just stood the whole time. It's like, just slap him so I can take you away.
Yeah, you didn't even have like a hand around her or anything like that. She was like, okay, say your piece, and then I'll let you go. It's like, what? Like, she's assaulting one of the fans. Like,
That's it. Well, no, it's essentially because the way we're meant to view it is a fan is assaulting a fan.
Yeah.
And one of those fans is inside the barricade.
Yeah. So I
so she's in like in the real world, in like she's a prime target to get dump tackled.
Yeah, basically, what should have happened here, just for shits and gigs? You get the biggest 500-pound security guard. He just fucking storms in and just literally doesn't even spear, just body tackles.
Yeah.
But of course that didn't happen. So Miz wins the championship. Zack Ryder fans are pissed off. I imagine there was a few people that were asking us, almost pleading to us, how long is Zack going to have the championship for? And we were like, well, you probably have it for about a month. And then this happens, and they're like, nah!
Yeah.
Listen, like, what I've heard is that they're going to try and build up a Miz Maurice versus Emma and Zack match.
Yep.
Which is okay. And they're going for the big shock. I think Miz has got a history of winning titles on the Raw after WrestleMania, so this is just another one to add to his list. Here's the thing with that, right? For people thinking that WWE were going to give Zack a lengthy reign, I think you should have seen the writing on the wall. At the very most, he was getting a month. He was getting
next pay-per-view at least.
Yeah.
Most.
We thought that maybe what would happen was that he would wrestle Kevin Owens on this show in a rematch for the title, right? Because Kevin Owens has a rematch, and Sami Zayn would be the one that costs him that rematch. So
I quite like how.
Ryder keeps it. Yeah.
I quite like how there's a moment with. In fact, that's in the backstage segment after this match with Owens. He's sort of like, nah, I don't care about it anymore. Like, he doesn't even seem like he's interested in going after the IC title again.
He's not going to cash in his rematch. Yeah,
bigger things.
Yeah, which, to be honest, with the way things are at the moment, then to be honest, he should be. Yeah. I mean, he's not going to be wrestled for the championship, but fine, that's okay. But here's the thing with this. That's the way I would have done it. And then if you want to have the Miz win the match, then just do it the month after. Right? Do it at the next pay-per-view. But doing it here, they want it to be a shock. They want you to feel sympathy for Zack. They want you to get behind Zack. The reason why this was done, and the reason you're angry about it, they did this by design. They want you to get behind him, so when he comes in, they might do this rematch at like the pay-per-view. Then they might move towards this mixed tag match maybe down the line, because Maurice keeps getting involved, so Emma comes out and helps her guy. And that's okay. I think what you should be more focused on here, so you could be as angry as you like, right? Because you may think that Zack Ryder deserved more time as champion. I say the way that he's been booked, it was almost surprising they gave him the title in the first place, because he's been booked as nobody. But here's the thing. Zack Ryder went from having random matches on NXT. Now, hopefully, if they do it right, I'm not going to say WWE might fuck this up, but he may end up having two pay-per-view matches here.
Yeah.
He may have a pay-per-view match where he wrestles in his rematch clause for the championship against The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is good for him. He's getting a main event spot in a match. And then he may be having this mixed tag match, if the rumours are to be believed.
I don't know if I like the rumours, though. Because you've got... Like, I get... Because obviously everyone knows Zack and Emma is the backstage item, and then Miz and Maurice are a married couple. Everyone kind of knows this. Emma's a heel. Currently.
They could turn.
I know they could quite easily turn. Like, all she'd have to do is just come out and make the save.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But I don't know if I like it. Because then we don't get Evil Emma anymore. And I like Evil Emma.
Yeah. Evil Emma's pretty... She could still be, like, bad on NXT, I guess. If she's staying on NXT, I'm not sure. That's kind of all up in the air. We don't really know how that's going to happen so far. But...
Poor Dana Brooke. What will she do without her bestie?
Yeah. Nothing, because apparently she can't wrestle. So there's that.
True.
But fans of Zack Ryder, this is a message from us to you. It's not all doom and gloom. It's doom and gloom if Miz beats him and he goes back to being nothing again. At very least, what I think they're going to do is they're going to have the rematch at Extreme Rules, and then this mixed tag match is going to happen maybe the month after, or they're going to tease it for longer. The longer they tease it, the more he's going to be on Raw every week. That's where Zack Ryder wants to be.
Yeah, that's
so at very least, take that as a plus, right? He might not get that championship back. In fact, I can pretty much confirm he won't win that title back against Miz. But these are matches and on a spot on the main roster that Zack Ryder wants to be in. So take that as a plus. Don't be completely 100% negative against it for now. That's really the bottom line of it there. But I wasn't surprised that he lost his title. Really, I was like, it was going to happen, to be honest. Renee Young speaks to Owens backstage. Owens does not want to talk about a certain Sami Zayn. Saying that Zayn robbed him of the IC Championship, but he's off to bigger and better things.
I don't think Zayn did. I think Zayn made...
he did slam him onto that fucking
But he turned Owens into a superhuman ladder hybrid.
Yes! He merged the two into one. That's exactly what he did with that move.
I think Owens has gotten bigger and everything.
Yeah, if all the memes are to be believed, there were 2 sexual acts at WrestleMania. There was Reigns and Stephanie, and there was Owens and this ladder, who became one for a very special moment of time. So yeah, he said he's going off to go and wrestle for the WWE Championship. Fair play, fair enough. That's okay. They showed that the Vaudevillains are going to be debuting, but on SmackDown. Now I can't explain any better why that speaks volumes.
Yeah,
that says so much there. Yeah,
but they've already brought one tag team onto Raw, and to be fair, I think the one they brought in was better.
Yeah, and they had so many debuts here on Raw as well. Adding another one to the mix would have been a little bit overdue. Like it's already getting to the point now where I'm worried that WWE is gonna not do right by one of their people that they brought up. So that's my main worry with that. But still. All the women are out in the ring, including Lita. Lita, by the way, is still looking mighty fine. Oh, she has aged fantastically.
Yeah,
that woman has.
There's no argument there.
She says that the women's division has never been stronger. I disagree. But all the women in the ring have put on a great match at WrestleMania. Well,
I disagree.
I disagree with that. 2 of them did a great job. The rest, meh. Charlotte comes out to receive the championship that she already received at WrestleMania, so this seemed a bit redundant. Huge Bayley chance here, so much so that Charlotte can barely get her promo out. She struggled a lot here to get her promo out, actually. She thanks Ric Flair for help to retain her championship, and she starts tooting her own horn, saying essentially that she did what she did in less than a year. Other girls, it took them almost a decade. Some of them haven't even done that, which she is actually quite right in that fact. They all end up leaving, except for Natty, who is looking more and more like a dominatrix every single time I see her. Listen, if that's what Tyson Kidd likes, I can't.
Who are we to judge?
Who are you to judge? You know, that's the way it is. And listen, if she can't be with him all the time, giving a little bit of visual candy every now and then isn't too much of a problem.
That's it. It's for you, Tyson.
It's for him. What a great wife she's being right there. Exactly. And so Natty, basically says that, you know what? Let's put my heart against your genetics, as she's the genetically superior.
I mean,
woman.
the one thing I quite like is the fact that Natty hinted back to. Do you remember that match that Natalya and Charlotte had on NXT?
For the title, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was for the title. Was it?
Yeah, it was for.
Was it for a title?
Yeah,
no,
because Paige had put it up because she won the Divas Championship.
Because Paige had left. Yes. Yeah. Because Natalya was like, I've given you some of your hardest fought matches. Like, I can go again.
Yeah. We could do this all over again. I can do this. Charlotte says that the championship shows that her family will always be better than Natty's. That was a good line, actually. I like that. That got a good response. Natty hits the sharpshooter, but Rick is right there to pull Charlotte right out of it here, setting up a potential title match down the line. And Matt, initially I was like, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, this kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that, guys, is because it doesn't make sense for Sasha or Becky, especially Becky, to be challenging for the championship again so soon after losing. Who's the next closest at the moment on the roster that you'd rather see her wrestle? Natalya. And this is a match that we know can work. Natalya's probably dying to get this match because she hasn't had a decent match on the main roster for God knows how long.
Yeah, and if she can have sort of like the match that she had against Charlotte on NXT on the main roster, it'd be great.
Yeah, it will be very, very good. And a stopgap is needed before you can get Sasha and Becky back into this title hunt. Natty can do that. She can perform a great match and be the woman for this month. I've got no problem with this. If this is where they're going, that's okay with me. No problem at all. They can put Sasha in another match, maybe to build her back up after taking that loss, and then eventually she goes. The real money is her being champion here, so that's where they need to go. Styles is speaking to Renee Young backstage. He says that he came to WWE not to just lose to Jericho at Mania. He came to become the world champion. He wants to start the phenomenal era, and all I can say is, shut up and wrestle Nakamura again, or we'll steal your family until you do it.
It's a bit harsh.
Do you think it's a bit too much?
Bit much, but I want him to wrestle Nakamura again. Agreed.
Would you help me do it then?
Maybe.
You know what happens now? There'll be a really unfortunate thing where there is actually a kidnapping happens, and then we're on audio.
We're suspect number one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, as long as he wrestles Nakamura again, who knows?
It'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
They may appear.
Yeah, they may appear. People are like, oh, this is going to be like, fucking hell, this is getting dark.
Don't do it.
Dudleys versus Uso. Usos, not Uso. That would have been a bit weird. Yeah. Michael Cole is mistaking a Gable chant for a table chant in this match. They sound the same, sure, but funny nonetheless. Dudleys win the match by the Usos diving through 2 tables in stereo. The fact that they won the match that way, Bubba was incensed. He was pissed off.
That's not how you do it. You have to put them through yourself.
Yeah, I don't know whether or not it was by whether you just called an audible, or just go straight for it, like, because whether you just thought on the fly. But yeah, table matches, like, we've always been told that you can dive through a table. You have to be driven through a table, right? Or dived on top of a table in order for you to lose that match. So literally, Bubba, without even missing a beat, gets straight back up, grabs the nearest Uso he can find, just flings his ass through a table. Shouting
at the timekeeper, "Now you can ring the bell."
Yeah.
And to be fair, if there's one person who you don't want to argue with when it comes to the rules of a tables match, is a Dudley.
Yes, yeah, they're the authority on it.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say about this match, Matt, while the ending, fair enough, it was pretty cool, quite a good visual, not a great match, not a good match at all, I didn't think. I thought this is just regular, even Steven. Like most of the matches on this Raw after WrestleMania, I have to say that unlike the only match I was really happy with was the main event.
Agreed.
In ring, there wasn't actually that much to be seen here.
The Zack and Miz match was good, but I wouldn't go as far as to say, like, you have to watch it. The main event was...
Most Zack Ryder fans probably won't want to watch it. That's
true.
But yeah, this one... I hope that Dudleys and Usos are done, and I guess then they are, considering what happened after this, but this is a rivalry that was just put out there. It's nothing. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion of it. Renee Young speaks to Sami Zayn backstage. Well, she tries to, because Owens attacks him from behind, because this is Owens and Zayn, and they're going to kill each other until they die, and then they'll wrestle each other in the afterlife. Mm-hmm. We said, funnily enough, that we can imagine just one poor sod who's like in his basement. He's being haunted by Owens and Zayn.
My kitchen keeps getting destroyed.
They keep cutting promos and fighting each other. They're going to do this until they get to the afterlife, and they're going to keep doing it. Then they're destined to keep on doing it
in decades' time, in a century's time, like. When we're old men and talking to our great grandchildren, they go, "Great grandpapa, where does thunder come from?" It's like, that is Cesaro. That is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens fighting in heaven.
Yeah,
that's the sound of the pop-up power bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the blue thunder bomb.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, it all makes sense, right? Yeah, exactly. But I will be telling my children that. So
great grandpapa.
Yeah, great grandpapa. Why do you still do a podcast for wrestling that doesn't exist anymore?
I will still insist. I will forever insist on great grandpapa.
Great grandpapa. I never knew that, but that's quite
from here on out.
Yeah. So Owens here, he powerbombs Zayn through a table, which puts him out of the final match of the night. So puts him out of the title hunt, which sets up that match. Which they, like I said, every now and then they're just going to keep wrestling each other, and it's going to be fun. It'll always be fun. As the Dudleys, they're still in the ring at this point. They're just only starting to make their way out. Enzo and Cass. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's great.
Their much anticipated Raw debut. This is the most obvious one I think everyone could see that it was going to happen. Michael Cole, however,
oh my god, they're here.
Oh, I wanted to slap Michael Cole when they came out. Michael Cole sounded as if he basically said he announced their arrival with as much passion as a depressed guy on plenty of downers. He was like, "Oh God, they're here."
The most energetic team of NXT.
It's like he became Micah Damley all of a sudden. Like, yeah, it's he completely no-sold it. He was like, oh God, like almost like to the point it came off a little bit sarcastic, right? Like he was like, oh God, like, oh fantastic, these guys are here.
Like he just took one look at Enzo and he's like, who dresses like that?
Yeah, I honestly, I thought you'd expect like this would be a moment where Lawler would be great. He'd be like, oh, these guys, you know, you got JR. I was like, these guys from NXT, you know, and all this like it would be a big thing.
God,
yeah, but no, it's like Michael Cole. Oh God, they're here, fan that. Oh, it's amazing. Enzo is like, come on, dude. It's not like you're not even trying.
Give it a go. You might enjoy it.
Especially, well, I'll tell you what, if Michael Cole isn't going to talk well, then Enzo surely will. He talks some beautiful smack to the Dudleys, to the point where Devon looks like he's ready to spontaneously combust.
Yeah, but that's because he was just sort of like, what was it? I'm the Lord of the Jab, and I'm going to... Or something like that. The King of the Work, and I'm going to put you... No.
He's King of the Jab, I'll punch your lazy eye back to work.
Yeah. It's just like, it's just... Enzo, don't...
Oh, he's going to send Bubba Ray back like his hairline.
Yeah.
Oh, that's some good shit right there. I like
it's so good.
And that's his main selling point. Enzo is that his talking ability is always going to be the mainstay of him now.
Yeah.
And he got great responses. He talks some great smack. Very, very fun. This Enzo has bags of charisma.
Yeah, I mean the soft chant just went over massively. And I think for a debut, they was really good. Like you didn't need any physicality. You just needed them just to be in the ring and just have the Raw after Mania crowd just go mental for them.
That's it. And you know what? Dudley's is a good rivalry for them. I do think that Dudley's are going to work with them really well. Bubba can talk some smack back.
Yeah,
right. He's pretty good
true.
at that. So I think this is a good entry-level rivalry for these guys.
Yeah.
I do think it's good for them. So good stuff.
The only thing that really disappointed me was after this, because they did the whole the spell it out for you, and everyone's like, yeah. And then they pan over to the announce team, and there's Byron, who murdered it in an instant. It's like S-A-W. It's like, shut up, Byron.
Like, whenever he tries to do something that we enjoy, I immediately start hating that thing. It's like, I don't want to do it now because you've done it, Byron. Like,
That's it. It's like, if I knew Byron Saxton goes, I like steak, and then all of a sudden, I don't like steak so much.
Yeah. I don't want to like what this fucking dweeb likes. Yeah.
I don't want to be like him, in association of anything else.
But yeah, it's like this really cool thing. Byron Saxton does it, and he finds some way to make it look like it's fucking stupid.
Instantly, let's just turn up the lame.
Yeah, exactly. He basically broke that lame meter. Jesus Christ. This leads into the main event then. It is Styles, Owens, and Jericho, and who's going to take that extra spot?
The mystery fourth.
It is none other than the return of the Swiss Superman, Cesaro, who comes out in his suit, looking fucking dapper. I might say.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's not even dressed to compete. He does a rock. He rips off his suit. Matt, I love it. He is the Swiss Superman.
Yeah.
I want him to come out in a suit every week and do that. That's awesome. I like that if he just does that every single week. That he's, it's almost like Superman tears off his shirt. He's got the S underneath there. This is his way of doing it. He's in the suit. He looks all dapper. He's got the glasses on, whoosh, and he's ready to go. Like I'd like that.
His cheer was great though.
Yes, and you know what? I've missed this guy. I really have. He is a talent. Oh goodness, is he a talent? He is so good. This is a fun match, Matt. I thought that this is easily the best match of the night, without even question. Nothing came close.
I quite like this match because it gave everyone an opportunity.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much like one person dominated the entire thing. There was a lot of time where just like the ebb and flows changed. So you had, when we had Styles and Cesaro in the ring on their own and the cheer for that.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you thought, that'd be a great match.
Yeah. And then when you got Cesaro and Styles in the ring doing something,
yeah.
That would be a great match, and
That's it.
It all sort of clicks into place here. Cesaro against AJ Styles, that would be phenomenal. And there's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot you could basically place guys in and out of here in singles matches in this group of 4, and you've got good matches no matter where you go.
Have we had Cesaro Owens yet?
Cesaro Owens, I think we have. Yeah. That'd
be quite good.
Yeah, I think they did have a decent match. So now Cesaro here, he got plenty of time and offense because he is the returning guy, but it isn't him who ends up winning the match to become the new #1 contender and face what I guess at Extreme Rules will be AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Wins the match with the Styles Clash on Jericho, getting his win back, which makes you wonder if Jericho's going to be gone for a while, why he lost at WrestleMania. I don't hate it as much as most people do, but if he's going to be the #1 contender, then him winning against Jericho, winning this match, that's a great way to build up a #1 contender.
Yeah.
No, so I don't know why they made him lose to Jericho if that was the case.
I mean, this is the one thing that we like, though, is the fact that it was a legit #1 contenders match, rather than I'm coming for your title. Okay.
I remember.
What about this person who's on so much momentum and has won 5 matches straight?
Yeah.
No. That's not how we work things here. You just have to ask for it.
Yeah, or you have to piss off the champion.
Yeah.
I remember one of the Raws after WrestleMania, you had Ryback who lost a match against Mark Henry, I think, and then John Cena was the champion. He comes out and attacks John Cena, even though he lost his WrestleMania match. He gets a title match. Right?
Yeah.
Stupid, right? It doesn't make any sense. Whereas here you're having a very good WrestleMania, not WrestleMania, Raw main event. And it names that #1 contender. It's trial by fire, right? And that's how I like my main events. My championship matches decided, right?
Yeah.
I always said, Matt, one of the things that WWE weren't doing for a very long time was making #1 contendership matches, because you could even put #1 contendership matches on pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Right. For the next pay-per-view.
There was a point where that was the case.
Yeah.
Because they'd build up the story for that spot.
I can't remember the last time they had a actual match scheduled for a pay-per-view and called it this. Whoever wins this is the #1 contender.
Royal Rumble.
What do you mean? Oh no, Fastlane.
No, I was going to say. Oh yeah. Fastlane was one. Yeah. For the past 2 years.
All right. Before that,
you've got a pay-per-view designed about deciding the #1 contender.
Yeah, okay, I get you with that. But even then, it doesn't happen that much, and it doesn't happen as often. I would like it to happen every pay-per-view, personally, because that way you can get excited about, okay, so someone wins this match, they're definitely locked in to be wrestled for the championship at the next pay-per-view. Then this guy, then the champion or the title change happens, whatever, and then you're then when that show ends, what to get excited for what the week is afterwards. That's how I would like it, but hopefully
that's a 2-month program as well.
Yeah,
because you build the 2 people to then go up #1 contendership match at a pay-per-view, and then the other person goes off to do something else.
Yeah,
but then you've now got one person who can then build for a month against the champion.
Yeah,
and that's a 2-month program.
Yeah, right there. And then you've got the guy who lost in his championship title match. Maybe they go against the guy who lost the #1 contendership match for who will become the new #1 contender.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have a fatal 4-way match for the #1 contender, or whatever. Or maybe they have a ladder match to decide. Or
you get to that second month, guy who lost screws guy who won.
Yeah,
and then another month down the line, you end up having a triple threat.
Yeah. It's booking 101. It's easy when you think of it that way, but that's just the way it is. Matt, let's give our overall review for this show. How are we going to review this in terms of Raw in general, or are we going to review it in terms of Raw after WrestleManias?
I wouldn't go nearly as far as to say that this was a Raw after Mania. This was a Raw. There was debuts, yes. There was a return, agreed. But I don't believe... If I was to put it up there against other Raws after Mania, I don't think it was a particularly good one.
Yeah.
It was a good Raw, but not a good Raw after Mania.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I would agree with that. I did enjoy some parts of it. Some debuts I think was a bit of a miss, like Baron Corbin. That match was not good.
Just a dud. Yeah.
And I think the only really good match was that main event, which is at the end of 3 hours. So I can imagine a few people getting a bit burnt out at this point. But there were some good debuts. Although I disagree with it, Cruz he was built up well in the debut. Enzo and Cass.
Yeah, I mean Cruz had a good debut.
Yeah,
we can't deny that, even if I don't like the conditions of his debut.
Yes, regardless of that, and Enzo and Cass had a good debut, talking a lot of good smack. But yeah, I think that's my review. Anyway, on our scale, watch it once. That's my review for it here. I don't think it warrants you watching it over and over and over again, but it is a watch it once, and I think you'll be entertained for it at the very least. So that is good. And if not, the crowd is fun. The crowd is always fun at these events. So
even if the commentary team try and fuck them over.
Yeah. One big thing to take out of this, you've got Cesaro returning. You've got a lot of guys coming up from NXT. The roster's getting a little bit healthier.
With the gaps,
they're starting to fill in some of these gaps.
Well, at least we've now got one of those people that we were like, that whole list of so-and-so's out injured, so-and-so's out injured, Rollins, Cena, and people like that. And now at least we've got one of them returned.
Yeah, I think Rollins is going to be coming back within the next couple of months, I think, as far as I know, in terms of timetable. I mean, things could complicate, of course.
Yep.
Cena's going to be returning at some point. If he was able to do some physical stuff at Mania, I'm guessing maybe a month or two he'll be back as well.
Probably pay-per-view.
Yeah. If he's going to miss Extreme Rules, that's probably just to keep it careful.
Yeah,
and then they keep him for afterwards. So they're going to start having some of these big guys come back. I hope then that when these big guys come back, they don't forget about these guys that have just been brought up, because they're good talents.
Yeah, that's it. And then once everyone's back, I mean, if everyone, say, dream scenario, you've got Cena and Rollins back for Extreme Rules or the Raw after or something.
Yeah.
You've then got so much time to build up to a very good SummerSlam.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Right now, after all this WrestleMania weekend's done, if I were WWE, I'd be planning my SummerSlam. I'll be getting SummerSlam ready. And if that's the case, then they've got plenty of time to build up to that and along those lines. But we'll see how it goes there. So, all in all, that is our show for this week. I hope you guys did enjoy the show. We need to do a few plugs before we get the hell out of here. We do. So, of course, if you want to interact with us, send us any questions, you can do so via our Facebook page, which is the main way of interacting with us. Facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast.
Yep.
You can send a tweet to us, Matt.
The Twitter handle of @TalkWrestlePod.
It is. And you can send Matt all of the tweets in the world to that
Such
Twitter
tweet.
handle. Such tweets, much wow. And, of course, you can send us any audio questions or private emails to the Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast @gmail.com. And, that's basically it. And if you want that set in stone, if you want it to, so you make sure you get that carefully typed out, I put it in the description of every video. It's all there. It's easy to find. If not, then it's just in our about page. There's so many ways of interacting with us. It's not that problematic at all. So great stuff. Overall, this week has been a busy week. I know that I usually do an article a month, which I'm missing as of this month. I don't know whether I'm going to get to that soon, but I might get to it soon. I do have a topic which Matt can see in the bottom right. You guys don't know what I've got in there.
I was wondering what it was down there for.
So I don't know whether it's going to come up soon. I might give myself like a week break, and then I might start trying to write something up. It's been so busy for us.
Yeah.
But I'll get onto that soon. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I hope you subscribe if you're new, because we're trying to break new grounds for here on the show. We're over 600 subscribers now.
And the only way is up.
We're hoping the ultimate goal, which will be hard to get, but we're hoping to get there, is 1,000 by the end of this year. That is still possible, and we're going to be trying that every single day to try and do that. One of the great things as well, over the course of this month, Matt, maybe at the next month, you're going to see the audio start improving, and the reason for that is I'll be getting my new headset.
That's it.
And it's going to be the same headset as Matt has, because Matt's got a snazzy headset. That's why he comes off better on the podcast than I do, because you've got a better headset than I do. And I'm going to be getting that. We're going to have the same headset, so the audio itself should start matching up a lot better, because it does my head in, and I want to improve it. And how is that getting improved? By you guys supporting the show, just by watching the advertisements that we put up there. We're getting our first paycheck from YouTube over the course of this month, and that's what's paying for my new headset. So. Fantastic. Thank you all for helping us improve the show, and hopefully you'll be the ones that benefit mostly from that. So, awesome stuff. We hope you have a great week. Our week is over, Matt. We've survived.
We're now done.
You're done. We go relax, and we're not going to talk about any wrestling for a while. Just get it out of our system so we don't burn out. Alright guys, have a great week, and we'll catch you all next time.
See you soon.
Bye-bye. Bye.